Good evening, thank you for joining us.
On tonight's programme, groundbreaking. The Sir Bobby Robson Foundation starts work on a new centre that will increase cancer trials by 50%.
Enormously proud to be able to finally get underway and start building. Long journey of Dad's career, his cancer journey, and just amazing that so many people have pulled together, and here we are today.
Jailed for 10 years, the man involved in 2 arson attacks on the same night on Teesside.
Also, remembering the late Queen Elizabeth, veterans gather on what would have been her 100th birthday.
We swore allegiance to her, and we still carry that allegiance now to this day.
First tonight to the latest efforts by the Sir Bobby Robson Foundation to fight cancer and to have the North East leading the way.
Today, construction started on a new £30 million facility at Newcastle's Freeman Hospital, which, when open, will allow 50% more cancer trials to take place.
The family of the former Newcastle and England manager say Sir Bobby would be thrilled by the charity's latest project. Chris Conway has more.
This empty space at Newcastle's Freeman Hospital might not look much at the moment, but soon it will be home to this, the Sir Bobby Robson Institute, a new home for groundbreaking cancer trials here in the North East, paid for by the hard work of fundraisers.
Long journey of Dad's career, his cancer journey, and just amazing that so many people have sort of pulled together, raised money. Great North Runs, Coffee Morning Cycling, so we're incredibly thankful to them, and they should be very proud of themselves because we'll have a fantastic facility here.
The facility, another landmark moment in the Sir Bobby Robson Foundation's story, started in 2008 by the former Newcastle and England boss during his own cancer treatment. The goal was to raise £500,000.
We hope that by June and July we have this money to get this centre up and running. It's badly needed in the North East, and that's the legacy that I want to play.
A legacy that has seen that £500,000 target long since smashed, and with huge demand since from people with cancer to take part in trials offered by the foundation, there was only one thing for it: build the Sir Bobby Robson Institute.
I've now got a waiting list of patients wanting trials because we can't, and we're turning down trials we're offers because we just haven't got the space and the capacity to do as much as we could. And it was, we've got that engagement from patients in the North East, the whole North East region, wanting trials, interested in research and wanting to take part, and we wanted to be able to offer trials to them.
Construction officially started on the £30 million facility this morning, with the Robson family breaking ground at the site.
Mark, I wonder what your dad, Sir Bobby Robson, would make of the development today.
Yeah, he would be lost for words, which would be unusual for Dad, given all the team talks he's probably done. But he would be enormously proud, and then to offer people hope, when they're not well, and offer them care and research and all those things, which is what he wanted. He went through that journey.
The charity still needs to raise a further £3.5 million of funding for the project, but they're pressing ahead. They say better research will mean better treatment for people with cancer. Chris Conway, ITV News.
Next tonight, a man's been jailed for more than 10 years for his role in 2 arson attacks in the same night on Teesside last summer.
One of the fires caused huge damage to a scrapyard at Port Clarence.
Our correspondent Greggy Steele has been there for us. And Greg, an arson attack that many people are likely to remember in the area from last year.
That's right, Amy, and not least because of the scale of the blaze that went up that night on June the 2nd. last summer. Take a look at the footage. You can see it shows huge, bright orange flames leaping quite high into the air. Quite a sight for emergency services who were called to the scene to have to try and deal with. In all, 4 vans went up, a forklift truck, a bus and a storage unit. Fortunately, nobody injured, but it wasn't the only shout that fire crews had to go out to that night, because around 5 miles down the road in Raleigh Road in Stockton, arson attacks, this time on a caravan which went up in a residential street. Again, the risk to life there considerable, not least because those flames could have easily carried in to homes nearby. Fortunately, though, emergency crews were able to bring both of those blazes under control.
So, Greg, what else do we know about the man convicted in connection with these 2 attacks?
Yes, he is 29-year-old Dwayne Davis, who lived around a mile away from where the caravan was set fire to. That 10-year and 10-month prison sentence, a measure of just how seriously the courts have taken his crimes. He's thought to be part of a group that carried out those arson attacks, and that group understood to have arrived here wearing balaclavas. But despite that disguise, and despite his denials to the police, he was caught out by small details. CCTV showing a man with a small white patch on his trousers and lines on his trainers, and those 2 small details were connected to him. Small details that got him in big trouble for what he did here that night, and sees him now starting a prison sentence lasting more than a decade.
OK, Greg, with the latest for us tonight, thank you very much.
The leader of Reform UK has said the results of council elections in the North East next month might determine the Prime Minister's future. Nigel Farage has been campaigning on South Tyneside, and in Gateshead today. Labour have been running both councils, but they are struggling in national opinion polls, with Reform in the lead.
Generally, I think across the North East we're doing very, very well. And I think that Keir Starmer's Labour government, even though these are local elections, you can't get away from the fact people also vote on national issues. And I think it may well be that what happens here in the North East is decisive in terms of whether he can continue as Prime Minister.
Well, Labour say that only they have a strong track record in the North East, delivering regeneration and lifting children out of poverty. Meanwhile, the Conservatives are pledging to abolish business rates for most pubs, restaurants and high street shops. The Green Party say they would introduce rent controls and ban leasehold housing arrangements. And the Liberal Democrats say they will focus on communities and social care. Some smaller parties and independent candidates are also standing in the elections on the 7th of May.
You're watching ITV News Tyne Tea, still to come on tonight's programme.
Taking to the wickets, the new scheme to help discover cricketing talent in state schools.
Reunited, the Pitman Poets prepare for a national tour sharing the heritage of our mining communities.
And after a chilly, cloudy start to the day, that April sunshine really has been developing for some unbroken blue skies, and there's a lot more sunshine in the forecast. I'll have that later.
First, though, a Gateshead mother who was jailed for fraud says more needs to be done to reduce the stigma around employing someone who has been to prison.
Claire Liddle set up a catering business, making cakes in Winlayton on her release. She's now hiring others with a criminal past.
The Ministry of Justice says the number of ex-offenders getting back into work is at an all-time high, but experts say a lot more still needs to be done to help them rebuild their lives. Helen Carnell has been finding out more.
There's simply no sugarcoating a criminal record, says Claire, who clawed herself back from the brink thanks to a boost from a business linked with the prison service that looked beyond the big black mark against her.
Before I went into prison, I had 2 suicide attempts, and I got my recovery in prison and learned to bake cakes in the staff coffee shop, without which any of that I wouldn't be here today. It's been an absolute kick up the backside, but also a blessing in disguise as well, but it also gave me a lot of inner strength that I didn't have. Just took responsibility for my mess and tried to put it right.
Re-entering the job market is no easy path for the 50,000 people that leave prison every year. The Recruitment Junction is a Newcastle charity that assists people with convictions, matching them with employers.
Barriers perhaps around stigma or fear of being judged, employers, I think perhaps not knowing how to go about it, and yet when it is done and when it is done well, it can be safe, it is transformative for the individual and their families and their kids, and for the employer in terms of getting access to a good talent pool of labour. We have had over 900 success stories in the last 5 years of people placed into work here in the North East.
It does take a little bit more convincing for people. You have to accept that. There are some people you're never going to be able to win round. First and foremost, you have to own it. You can't hide from it. It is what it is. You've messed up. But I think it's what you do after that. It's how you put it right, how you pick yourself back up.
Studies have consistently shown that stable employment has a drastic impact on reducing the likelihood of reoffending. The latest figures show that around 20% of offenders were employed at 6 weeks post-release from custody. And of the 12 probation regions across England and Wales, Wales saw the highest performance, with 28.7% in work in that time frame. But the North East has the lowest rate, with 13% of offenders taken on.
Many employers are very, very nervous about any type of criminal record because they're afraid that they'll offend in the workplace, but there's no evidence to support that. It's really important that people with criminal records are supported to find employment that is right for them, where they're going to be able to succeed and thrive and sustain that job.
The Ministry of Justice's New Futures Network aims to connect ex-offenders with large employers like Greggs, Iceland and Kia. It's headed by Lord Timpson, whose company started recruiting in prisons in 2002.
When I first started employing people from prison, no one else was doing it. Last year we had over 300 businesses and individuals knocking on our door wanting to employ people from prison. And it's because organisations have learned that you can find some really good people who are leaving prison, who want to get a job, want to get stuck in.
Just give people a chance, just believe in people, and it may not always come good, but you'll find some real diamonds there that have just want to work harder. I think people who come out want to prove themselves a little bit more, so you're going to get probably a little bit more from them.
And a little bit can go a long way to leaving behind an illicit former life.
Carmel with that report there. Now, next tonight, families say that their fight will go on after councillors delayed plans to close a day centre for disabled adults in North Yorkshire.
They claim Corwood's Day Centre in Malton is a lifeline, providing support for adults with learning disabilities and other special needs. North Yorkshire Council is looking at closing the facility, saying it's no longer fit for purpose.
Earlier, though, councillors decided to defer their decision while a consultation is carried out. Michael Billington reports.
They came expecting the worst.
That we don't make a decision today in line with the recommendations in the report.
Well, to stay of execution for now at least, for families who say they rely on Corwood Day Centre.
Nice flowers.
Yeah. It's a lifeline. Since losing my wife last year, who was Matty's main carer, it's a respite for him, for being stuck at home with me, and without it, I don't know how either of us would cope.
The future of the centre was plunged into doubt when councillors said it was no longer fit for purpose. A report recommended it should close to be replaced by support services in the community.
She knows what is going on.
But for Caroline, it's irreplaceable. Respite for her husband undergoing treatment for cancer and a safe space for their 25-year-old daughter Tash.
Well, we had no consultation. We had no prior acknowledgement that it was going to happen. It just happened. So for her to lose Corwood again, she'll probably just shut down.
Today, families expressed their frustration as councillors met to approve the closure of the centre before they'd been consulted. Instead, the decision was delayed until a consultation with families can be carried out.
It's been 12 days of hell for the families, for the users. We came here today to make the case. There has been this last-minute decision, but it is a massive shame that we've had to go to these lengths. The anguish, the distress that this has caused for families has been unimaginable. They fear the catastrophic loss of this centre.
We need to understand more about what those care and support needs are, what the care and support and respite needs are for the families of those adults. alongside that is the sustainability of the service as it is. So the more we understand about all those things helps us make a better decision at the end.
But you were about to take that decision today without hearing those voices first.
Well, ultimately, before we change a service, we will always have to get those views, and that was the next step.
There are still no guarantees that the centre will stay open, but campaigners say today's decision at least allows vulnerable young people to finally have their voices heard. Michael Billington, ITV News.
The ITV Evening News continues at 6:30 tonight with Mary Nightingale.
And the top civil servant who lost his job over the Peter Mandelson appointment speaks out on the vetting of the controversial Lord. Pets paying your bills, the lucrative world of social media animal stars.
I just uploaded it, his very first video. We went for a walk, went, darling, I think this might be going viral.
And King Charles remembers his mother, the late Queen, on what would have been her 100th birthday. Do join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Well, North East veterans have also been marking the 100 years since the birth of Queen Elizabeth II, who was born Princess Elizabeth of York on the 21st of April in 1926. A service of remembrance was held at the Cenotaph in Newcastle's Old Eldon Square. The event saw former service people from the three forces coming together to remember the former monarch, who they held in huge affection and regard.
We're here today to commemorate that centenary of the Queen, affectionately known to all veterans as the boss, because we sworn allegiance to her and we still carry that allegiance now to this day. The Queen was somebody I looked up to all the time, simply because I was in the household division, I was ex-Coldstream Guards, so we had a very, very close affinity with the royal family and, more importantly, the Queen as well.
Next to the scheme that is hoping to get more young people into cricket. Pupils from across the North East are taking part in a new national competition. It's designed to try and give the sport a boost in our state schools.
Yeah, the first fixtures of the Knight Stokes Cup get underway today. The tournament is the only one of its kind. It's named after state-educated England cricketers Heather Knight and Ben Stokes. The hope is it will discover even more talent in our state schools, as Lauren Hall reports.
Getting some practice in ahead of their first match. These pupils at St John's Catholic School are bowled over to be taking part in the inaugural Knight Stokes Cup. Their school in Bishop Auckland is one of hundreds competing in this new cricket competition, and there's a lot of excitement.
It means everything. I'm going to give my best.
It's an achievement because I've never really had an opportunity like this.
Obviously, it's such an experience playing for such a big cup. Even getting somewhere like the final, for example, it's good to think about. It's just everything.
Right above the stumps for me.
Their PE teacher knows just how much this means to them.
The emphasis is on fun, it's on participation, it's getting as many students involved from different backgrounds. Cricket is traditionally a sport that could be quite expensive to get involved in, so this is giving everyone an opportunity to compete.
The T20 tournament will involve more than 800 schools from across the UK. A lot of them don't have cricket pitches, but are making use of playgrounds and school halls. Some are even partnering up with local cricket clubs, giving them somewhere to train properly.
This is all about levelling the playing field. This competition is specifically for state secondary school pupils. There's a boys' cup and a girls' cup, and those lucky enough to reach the final will be walking out onto the hallowed turf of Lord's Cricket Ground.
It all helps put a positive spin on a sport more often associated with private schools than state schools. Many professional cricketers have been privately educated. Could this be a turning point?
The dream for this competition is it acts as a catalytic effect. So this fantastic first edition of the Barclays Knight Stokes Cup then launches a legacy for cricket in state schools that helps to grow the game across schools in this country and ultimately lead more people to fall in love with the game. And hopefully, if we're lucky, we'll be here in 7 or 10 years' time talking about players playing professional cricket who first got interested in it in a school like this.
These may well be the sports stars of the future. And in this tournament, they're hoping to go far, from the school hall all the way to Lords. Lauren Hall, ITV News.
Returning now to a celebration of our former coal mining communities with music, stories, poetry in the company of North East folk legends. Billy Mitchell, Bob Fox and Jez Lowe.
Yeah, they call themselves the Pitman Poets, and they are reuniting for a tour, taking in 14 venues across the region in June and July. And our correspondent Tom Barton is with them as they rehearse for the shows. Tom.
Yeah, Amy, I'm in a garden in North Tyneside, not somewhere perhaps that you'd expect to find three titans of the North East music scene, but inside this rather unassuming shed, well, that's exactly what you'll find. Like you say, they call themselves the Pitman Painters, Pitman Poets. I knew I'd get that wrong, and they are preparing for their latest tour. Now, Billy Mitchell, you were one of the frontmen in Lindisfarne in the 1990s and 2000s. With the Pitman Poets now, just tell us what people can expect from this tour, because it's not all going to be music, is it?
There's music and crack and bits of stories, a bit of humour, a bit of politics, not heavy, but a good entertaining show, you know. Yeah.
Fantastic, brilliant. Now, Bob Fox, you're a well-known folk musician in the region. Also, you've been in the hit show Warhorse. You're back, though, with the Pitman Poets after, well, several farewell tours.
Yeah, we started with the Pitman Poets in 2011, and we've toured every couple of years since then. And then we got to a point where we thought, maybe we won't do this anymore. So we did a final farewell tour. And then people wanted us to do it again, so we did another final farewell tour. And then we did a third final farewell tour. And last year we did another tour, and we didn't know what to call it, so we called it the first reunion tour. And this year, we're calling it Still Burning Bright.
Fantastic. Now, Jez Lowe, you're a well-known songwriter. 20 albums, I think, to your name. What is it about folk music that is so enduring for people here in the North East?
Well, there's a sort of a depth to it, I think, that goes back. It reflects everything that's been in the industry and in society and stuff. And people just relate to it straight away. It's quite remarkable. We see it when they come to our shows, and it's something that really drives us on, I think.
And you're called the Pitman Poets, and this really is about the kind of stories of coalfield communities, isn't it?
It is. I mean, the original Pitman poet was a man called Tommy Armstrong from Stanley in County Durham, and he was a completely uneducated coal miner, wrote songs about what he saw happening in the community, funny songs, serious songs, and basically that's what we do as well.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all very much. That's enough of the crack, as we say. Let's have a listen. I'm going to leave you to it. We can have a listen to the music that you guys play.
Let's go.
Wonderful, isn't it?
You can't help but sort of like bob along like
Bob
this.
and Jez there, the Pitman Poets. Check out their tour dates, June and July, right across the region. Get yourself along, you will have a tremendous evening.
Very special talent. Really nice garden shed as well to rehearse in as well. But that was a great time. Yeah, the sun was out, a piece of birds on the wall.
Lovely, oh yeah, and there myself.
Yeah.
But yes, lovely sunshine across the region today. After a cloudy start, a bit of a chill in the air as well. But yes, the sun did manage to burn away most of that cloud, fringing in towards the east coast at times, but there was a real chill in those breezes, particularly out towards coastal areas, so we'll see quite a big difference. But don't let the chilliness fool you. Those UV levels are really starting to climb at the moment. This chart here shows the power of the sun throughout the year. UV really does start to climb through late spring. In fact, the power of the sun now is the same as it is towards late August. So little reminder there.
Factor 50 on.
Exactly, factor 50 at least. We do want to hold on to those clear skies. The Lyrid meteor shower is peaking at the moment, 10 to 20 meteors an hour. Look towards the Lyra constellation, I say, is peaking over the next couple of days. But we do need the clear skies and the cloud not to return, is the forecast.
A clear start makes way for a day of ancient discoveries. TUI sponsors ITV Payne's weather.
Lots of spring sunshine developing for us today. Hardly a cloud in the sky for many as we made our way through the afternoon. And it's a similar story as we head through the rest of this week and into the weekend as well. Blue skies developing after that early morning cloud clears. Chilly at the moment with those breezes coming in from the east, but by the end of the week, temperatures up in the high teens. So very much a case of spot the difference as we head through the next few days. Bit of cloud first thing, sunny by day, chilly by night, calm and dry, all thanks to an area of high pressure sitting up towards the north. So that's with us at the moment. It's dragging in those winds from the North Sea, adding to that cooler feel at times. But later in the week, as the high pressure repositions itself, we cut off that flow. We get lighter winds, and it's thanks to that our temperatures are set to climb. For now, though, we do have those breezes coming in from the North Sea. Fresh at times, overnight pushing in that cloud, some murky conditions developing as well. We'll see some clearer skies. Underneath prolonged clearer skies, temperatures dip down low enough to see a little bit of frost into tomorrow morning. But where we do see the breezes, the cloud coming and going, holding up at around 5 or 6 degrees. So yes, into tomorrow morning. First thing, as we saw today, the clouds coming and going. Thinning and breaking through the morning into the afternoon, sometimes just fringing in along coastal areas. And again, we still have that breeze coming in from the North Sea. So fresher the further east you go, the inland, we do have those top temperatures, as we saw today, of around 13, maybe 14 degrees. Through Wednesday and into Thursday, the area of high pressure still with us. Again, we'll see a bit of cloud increasing overnight. Chilly start into Thursday morning, but there's still plenty of sunshine to come. And as I say, towards the end of the week, highs of 18 degrees.
TUI sponsors ITV Tyne's weather.
Thank you, Ross. In just a moment, then the national and the international news.
I'll be here with the next update just after 11 o'clock tonight. It's getting later, isn't it?
It is.
We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.